Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to our presentation today. I'm Lisa Conway, Client Relationship Manager for Scotland here at the Mining Remediation Authority, and I'm delighted to be co-hosting this session today with Steve Meredith, who's one of our very talented mining information managers. So we expect our session to take around 25 to 30 minutes today. So if you do have any questions, we would encourage you to email in and I'll supply details at the end of the webinar for that. Today, we're excited to share some really important updates we've made to our residential CON29M coal mining report and our mine entry interpretive report. Now, these changes have been developed through close collaboration with the lending and surveying community, and we're really pleased to say they're available immediately through your usual search provider or from us directly, whichever is your preference. It's also worth noting that these updates are specific to our Coal Authority Residential CON29M and our mine entry interpretive report. So if you do want to benefit from these enhancements, please do make sure you're requesting one of our coal mining reports when you order. For those who may be joining us for the very first time, welcome. I'll briefly set the scene by sharing a little bit about us and the work that we carry out. So the Mining Remediation Authority has proactively been managing the UK coalfields since 1994, with a clear mission to create a better future for people and the environment in coal mining areas. Our focus is on providing our customers with clear, confident information that helps to keep property transactions moving and with confidence. Now, around 11% of the UK sits above former coalfields, and while coal mining has ended, the need for effective, proactive management remains. Our coal mining reports and unique after service really helps our customers to manage this risk. Now, Steve and I have been working very closely with the lending and surveying community for a number of years now to ensure our reports continue to meet their needs. And as we go through today's session, you'll see how that feedback has shaped the positive changes we've made to our reports. So we're going to be using Slido today as it's a really effective learning tool. So if I could invite you all to open your cameras and scan the QR code there for me on screen. So as we go through today's session, there will be a few questions to answer, as we've really wanted to bring you on the journey that we've been through with the lending and surveying community, as it will really provide some valuable context into the why we've made the changes we have made. We'll also give you a clear overview of our Coal Authority CON29M report and explain when and why we recommend a mine entry interpretive report. And this is where a mine entry or mine entries, if there's more than one, have been identified within 20 metres. So without further ado, I'll now hand over to Steve to set the scene regarding our trusted information.
Thank you very much, Lisa, and good morning, everyone. Right, so we are the only official public body responsible for managing coal mining information in the UK. Our coal mining reports for over 30 years now have been a cornerstone of due diligence for the legal and property sectors. Our reports are trusted by customers as they're instantly recognisable by the official government crest in the top left corner, which is your assurance of quality, authority and reliability. If anything happens across the coalfields, we're the ones to put it right for people in communities, and that's another reason why our customers have comfort in our coal mining reports. For those of you that don't know about us, we're based in Mansfield, Nottinghamshire, and we're the proud custodians of a National Archives standard plan store, which houses the UK's most comprehensive collection of historic mining records. We've got a full collection of over 120,000 coal mining abandonment plans dating back to 1872. That's the year it became law to submit plans for where coal had been extracted. We also do hold plans from before that date, and we've even got a plan from the Tudor times, which, if you're into your maps like me, is really interesting. We hold the British Coal's official shaft register with detailed records from their surveying officers from across the country, and we also hold historical geological sheets and rationalised plans from the 80s and 90s. We've even got original surveyor notebooks dating back to the 1800s, which I found all truly fascinating. but these highly specialised and historically rich data sets are maintained and interpreted by our expert mine and information team, who have supported literally thousands of inquiries and projects over the past 3 decades.
As I'm sure you'll appreciate, coal mining legacy is a highly niche and often complex topic, so it's incredibly important to us that lenders feel confident approving mortgages across the coalfields. Steve and I have been very fortunate to have presented at several valuer and lender liaison group sessions, and this is where lenders come together across the country to discuss the latest industry challenges and emerging topics. Now, through this collaboration, we really wanted to understand how lenders were interpreting our CON29M and mine entry interpretive reports, and whether there was any feedback that would help to ensure they continue to lend confidently across the coalfields. The feedback we received was extremely helpful, and I'm delighted to say that we have listened and we've implemented these changes. We really value the relationships we hold with the lending and surveying community, as they have played a vital role in shaping these positive fact-based changes, which are all designed to ensure those using our reports feel informed, reassured and confident. So with that in mind, I'm now going to move on to our very first question. So in the last 10 years, how many hazards do you think we've dealt with that are linked to mine entries in residential areas? Do you think it's 99, 150, 344 or 512? So what do you think?
Good to see you all getting involved and having your answers.
Excellent. Thank you so much for doing that.
Well, lovely. For those of you who answered 99 hazards, you have the first question right. So these stats that I'm going to talk through have come from our Public Safety and Subsidence Department. We have records of many mine entries in our database across England, Wales and Scotland. However, only 21,000 are within 1 metre of a residential property, which is just 11% of the data set. But more importantly, over the last 10 years, as the question showed, we've only had 99 incidents in residential areas where we've been called out to carry any kind of work to a mine entry, which is just 0.05% of the mine entries we have in our database. And of those 99, only 10% of those were what we would class as a significant incident, which is just 0.003% of the mine entries in our database. So that's a good demonstration of how small the likelihood of a mine entry causing any issues is. And also, bear in mind that data was taken from the last 10 years, but even in that time, a lot has changed, especially at the Mining Remediation Authority. We're now an established statutory planning consultee with a more robust permitting system, where wherever new development is taking place, we ensure that any coal mining risk is fully remediated upfront, so these figures should continue to reduce as we go forward. So I think it's fair to say the stats speak for themselves when we talk about how low the likelihood of anything untoward happening from a mine entry is. And in the vast majority of cases, the liability for coal mine entries falls to us anyway under the Coal Mining Subsidence Act 1991. I'll run through that in a bit more detail shortly, but first, on to another question before we get into the changes.
Thank you, Steve. So in the last 3 years, what percentage of hazards that we have dealt with are linked to mine entries in residential areas? 3%, 23%, 45% or 55%? Again, a nice array of answers there. That's great. Thank you for doing that.
Excellent. So I see the majority there went for 3%, and the majority is correct in this case. It's a very low number. And here we just want to share a few more stats with you to ensure you have context when considering the coal mining risks, especially in relation to mine entries. I'll just explain now a bit about public safety, as this is at the core of our organisation. We proactively manage public safety 24/7, 365 days a year, whilst also protecting the environment by addressing issues such as subsidence, also mine water pollution, and a whole range of others. If your home or your client's home does suffer from coal mining subsidence damage, you do have rights under the Coal Mining Subsidence Act 1991 as amended by the Coal Industry Act 1994. Now, under this Act, the responsible mine owner, which is typically ourselves, is obligated to remedy the damage at no cost to homeowners, mortgage lenders, insurers. It's all on us. And this includes damage to residential, commercial and agricultural properties. To make a claim, claimants must submit a damage notice form, which can be found very easily on our .gov pages just by searching claim for subsidence damage caused by coal mining. So this approach helps protect property and infrastructure and ensures safety and stability in areas affected by past coal mining activities. If you're ever unsure about anything, you can always call our brilliant customer support and services team on the number shown on the slide, and they'll be available to support you, whatever the question. So now we'll move on to chat through the positive changes we've made to ensure property transactions keep moving forward with confidence.
So firstly, on the new front cover, you will now find the property address under the report name and confirmation that the location is on the coalfields. And don't forget, if you are off the coalfields, we have our residential no search certificate, which covers the property owner in the event of any of our information changing in the future. And there is a webinar on YouTube for more information if you are interested. So back to the changes, we've refined our wording and the report now reads potential coal mining risks. And this is because a lot of the UK coal mining legacy poses no risk, which is in the exclamation mark with the orange box around it. We've also taken out the warning for future underground coal mining risk, as there isn't any active underground mining. So I'm sure again this will provide more confidence when handling property transactions that sit across the coalfields. You will then note in the top right corner we have amended the wording, which now reads recommended reports. Now, just to reiterate here, we will only recommend a follow-on report if you need them, and we'll provide further information around this shortly. Our reports are designed to be clear, concise and fact-based, which will now provide some further context around.
So we're on to page 2, and we've made some significant changes to this page, all based on the lender feedback to provide further confidence to the lending community, as well as the clear map where you've got the property and any other features noted. We've added a new box titled Ground Stability and Mine Entries. Now, this pulls on some of the stats we've discussed earlier and is clear reassurance for homeowners and lenders. We use the stats, we've not made assumptions, and we're providing facts of what we know. And what we do know is that since our records began in 1994, fewer than 600 residential properties have experienced ground stability issues linked to mine entries. That's in over 30 years. And like I mentioned before, this is just 0.3% of the 176,000 mine entries recorded in our database. This demonstrates how rare these occurrences are, offering reassurance to homeowners and property professionals alike. We've also added a new box giving the information on the Coal Mining Subsidence Act, which I've just talked about. We've made this more prominent. We feel it gives really important reassurance, so it should be a bit more front and central in the report. And again, it clearly highlights the low likelihood of any damage occurring resulting from coal mining, and reiterates the fact that no costs fall on the property owner, the mortgage lender, or the insurer, which again is very reassuring. All of our residential CON29M coal mining reports come with a material fact change insurance cover of up to £100,000 for any future changes to our data. Now, this is separate to the cover provided by the 91 Act for damage. This is about data, and it covers the homeowner, the purchaser of the report, against any loss in property value due to changes in our coal mining information after the original report has been issued. So this provides peace of mind and confidence. If any information changes after the report's issued, your customer is covered. More information about the material fact change insurance cover can be found on our website.
So a fairly small change on this page, but impactful. We've changed our mine entry icon to be more reflective of the historical nature of mine entries. As we mentioned earlier, there's no coal mining taking place now, so we felt that this icon better reflects that of an old mine entry. We've also updated our contact details. So, a little test now to see if you can remember the stat we shared at the start. Unfortunately, there's no prizes, but please do play along. How many recorded mine entries do we have in our comprehensive coal mining database across Scotland, England, and Wales? 176,000, 192,000, 259,000, or 278,000? Okay, thank you.
Lovely. So for those of you who did answer 176,000, top marks, you're paying attention, you're awake, that is the figure we have got. And we proactively manage these mine entries, as you'd expect, each and every year to ensure we keep people and communities safe. And anyone can report a coal mining hazard to us 24/7, 365 days a year using our 24-hour hazard line, which is shown on the screen. We're quickly going to move on to one more question now. And talking residential mining reports now, and what percentage of residential property transactions that we have dealt with through our coal mining reports have recommended a mine entry interpretive report? Is it 3%, 20%, 35%, or 50%? Seeing some strong love for 3% there, and the 3% is absolutely right. If a mine entry is flagged in your residential CON29M Coal Authority report, we do recommend a mine entry interpretive report, and these are appropriate for residential properties with an existing property footprint. We use our own methodology and interpretation of various factors, which allows us to provide our customers with a comprehensive risk assessment for properties with a mine entry within 20 metres. We analyse the best plotted position of the mine entry diameter, and available geological data to assess the potential for any ground movement. And crucially, we calculate a theoretical zone of influence for each individual mine entry to ascertain whether this zone of influence intersects with either the building footprint or the wider property boundary, both of which we digitise separately for greater accuracy. Doing it like this allows us to provide our customers with a professional opinion on the level of risk to the property, and this can be found in the conclusion section, where we provide an interpretation of the risk of the property being damaged by subsidence for each mine entry within the prescribed 20-metre reporting distance. In the unlikely event that the property being damaged by coal mining subsidence, customers can, like I said earlier, under the 91 Act, make a claim, which we covered earlier. So having a comprehensive risk assessment from a trusted government organisation ensures you can move forward with the sale or purchase with confidence.
So we're now going to head into our archives so that Steve can explain a bit more about the digitisation of our mine entry interpretive report boundaries.
So in this example here, we have a property in Leeds, which, as you can see, has 4 mine entries within reporting distance of it. I hope you can make out we've got the building footprint digitised yellow and the wider property boundary digitised red. Now, what our system does is it calculates a zone of influence for each individual mine entry and then ascertains whether that zone of influence intersects with any of the digitised boundaries. Now, in this example, it's essentially a best case scenario, because although there's 4 mine entries within the reporting distance, none of the zones of influence intersect with either of the boundaries. So in an interpretive report for this property, you will get 4 individual risk assessments, one for each of the mine entries, all of which state that in the unlikely scenario that anything were to happen to this mine entry, both the building footprint and the wider property boundary would not be affected. This is essentially the scenario that interpretive reports were created for on the back of market research.
So I'll now walk you through the changes we've made to our mine entry interpretive report, again, which was all feedback directly from the lending community. So the first thing you'll note is we've removed the image here on screen. So this was of a semi-hidden mine entry, and the feedback was very clear that this wasn't adding any value and simply wasn't needed. Instead, lenders shared with us they wanted to see key information up front, clearly presented, so it was more focused on those facts immediately. So with that in mind, let's now have a look at the front page. So from today, you'll find details of your client's name and inquiry address, a map and key showing the details of the mine entry or mine entries if there's more than one. And then there's that reassurance paragraph, again, that's also included in our residential CON29M report. So again, this is referring back to the stats that we shared earlier. Since our records began in 1994, fewer than 600 residential properties have experienced ground stability issues linked to mine entries. And this really demonstrates how rare these occurrences are, offering reassurance to homeowners and property professionals alike.
So, and moving on to page 2 of the Interpretive report, here again you'll find further reassurance regarding the Coal Mining Subsidence Act and the protection it offers. Again, based on the feedback we received, we've made this section more prominent to highlight its importance and the reassurance it gives. We think that this section, linked with the stats on the front page, really can help provide reassurance.
So on this page, you'll note a new title, which now reads Mine Entry Professional Interpretation, and this is from us. We've streamlined the no treatment reassurance paragraph, and we've also made the risk, the remedy, and the conclusion clearer and more concise, highlighting the conclusion statement with a box around it. So again, really positive changes here.
So that's the changes to the interpretive report. I just thought I'd highlight an existing service that we do offer that some of you may or may not be aware of. Comfort letters. We find our comfort letters provide a lot of reassurance to house buyers and sellers. We don't charge for them, but they are our way of trying to give additional reassurances where needed to people that the risk posed by mine entries is low. The general trigger for these is when a customer contacts us to say that the presence of a mine entry is impacting their property transaction. So the process of producing this letter involves either myself or one of our expert mining information team reviewing the historical information we hold to see if there's any possible additional information that we can provide that will give more comfort. Now, this often includes me digging through British Coal's old paper records in our archive, which is a happy half hour for me. I love that. But we also review all other relevant data. For instance, if a mine entry is shown on a plan dated from the 1870s and we've received no subsidence claims or reports of hazards in that particular area, then it's safe to surmise that the feature has been in existence for over 150 years without causing any detrimental effects to ground stability. So this is the kind of information we include in the comfort layer. We certainly find this service gives reassurance to homeowners and buyers, but I would be really interested to hear from you guys that A, are you aware of this letter? And B, if you are, do you think it brings value? Feel free to pop any comments in the chat or to contact us, like Lisa said, outside of this webinar.
So that brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you so much for joining us. We're really grateful for the valuable feedback shared by the lending and surveying community, which has really helped to shape these improvements. But we'd also like to recognise the work of our digital team in delivering these changes. This has genuinely been a collaborative effort, and we're really looking forward to the positive impacts these enhancements will make to our customers. As a reminder, our Coal Authority coal mining report and our mine entry interpretive report can be purchased now through your usual search provider or through us directly. And as I mentioned at the start, if you do have any questions for us today, if you could email them in to customerservice@miningremediation.gov.uk, we will look to come back to you directly. We'll also be sending this recording out next week, so please do look out for that as well. So on behalf of Steve and I, thank you so much for your time. And remember, we're here to support you and we're here to keep property transactions moving. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.